that lets you save. Look here.
True Form Life.
There is an intuition and an insight, an intrinsic wisdom inside of all of us that is soft and quiet, so we're not listening to it when we're running around in our chaos.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Tadia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Tadia.
Welcome to another edition of Nationally Syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. We're coming at you with a brand new show. We appreciate whether you're listening on terrestrial radio across the country or as a podcast around the world. We certainly wouldn't be here without you. So stick around. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Tadia.
All right, welcome to another edition of Nationally Syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. We're super excited to have two brand new guests on the show. So without further ado, welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, good to see you, Drew.
Yes, it's our pleasure. All right, excited. We got lots to talk about today, but I always like to start off with our guests telling us and our audience about themselves. So why don't you guys take the floor and let us know who you are and what you do?
Okay, I'm Maureen Pelton. I'm a social scientist with 37 years experience. I've been out on the edge bringing mindfulness, meditation, biofield science, mystical, shaman, all kinds of new levels of consciousness to the corporate world, the medical world. I taught at a university. I'm all about human flourishing and embodiment.
I'm Charlie Hartwell. I am Maureen's husband, first of all, and partner in business, life, and everything else. I'm a Harvard Business Scholl graduate who's worked in 14 different industries. I'm most comfortable when I'm helping to build new global movements, to co-create those. The one that we're currently working on is in my role as managing director of Bridge Builders Collaborative, which are investors in the space of consciousness, spirituality, and mental health. We've been investing in startup companies in that space for 10 years. We were pioneering investors, sort of the first professional investors in that space. And, we've helped sort of co-create a whole new global industry around these concepts.
Awesome. So Harvard graduate, that's pretty cool. Is it as cool and prestigious as they show on TV? How is that? Are they very professional? Do you have to wear a tie to class?
No, I never wore a tie to class. To be honest with you, I'm very glad that I got a Harvard Business Scholl degree, and I did not enjoy my 2 years there. It was highly competitive. It was a very patriarchal model. Where you learned what I would say is an old school of business, which is sort of a dominance and suppression model. I'm much more about collaboration and teamwork. The school, I think, has actually changed since when I went. But yeah, I would say those were not my two favorite years of my life.
It's interesting. I just had this conversation with another entrepreneur, and I've been in business for about 10 years now, running my own business. And I thought didn't take one business class, didn't take accounting class. I didn't know anything about anything when I started. But then I thought if I did go to business school, I would worry that their structure of this is exactly how you run business would influence me in not the right way, but in the right way or a different way than I'm used to. I feel like I do really well with spur of the moment. I don't always have business plans. I just kind of throw things at the wall, and whatever sticks to the wall, I run with. And I feel like if I went to a proper business school, maybe I wouldn't even be as wouldn't feel successful because it wouldn't work for me. What do you think about that?
Well, so I don't know if it would work for you or not. I think you do learn concepts that can be helpful. So I learned information that was useful in my career. I also think that the networking, in business schools in general is very good for your business. There's also a credibility that comes along, with that degree that I think, that I think helps you. But like you were describing, I felt like sort of a fish out of water. Not that I like the people, but the atmosphere was not, was not my type of an atmosphere. So I, I struggled with the atmosphere and with the general tenor of how they were teaching business in this patriarchal model.
Yeah, good points. Yeah, I think it's probably different for everyone, but probably a great experience regardless. So tell us why you guys are here. What is your mission? What is the message that we're trying to share? And then let's break that down into our regular Q&A is how we do it.
We have been, and we continue to be, hoping to shift paradigms and raise consciousness and encourage, a new level, basically creating a new world that dismantles the patriarchy.
Okay. Tell me, let's hear some details. What does that look like? Like, what is that for those of us that have never heard you, no idea what you're doing? Tell us what that looks like.
So we've been living under this patriarchal, hierarchical, paternalistic framework for at least 5,000 years, and it's caused a lot of damage. And we would like to shift that into a more collaborative structure where all people are valued and it isn't about dominating and suppressing. And how we've been doing that is we work, like I said, I worked in many different areas. For example, integrative health is something I've been involved in for many years. How do we shift the medical system from the saviorism model of the doctor being the expert and us giving away our power and taking those pills or getting that surgery to a much more empowered place where the healthcare professionals, which I am one, partner with us, respect our agency and help us to heal ourselves, integrating all forms of medicine and modalities so that people actually can live more what we call whole person living and have much more choice and consciousness around their mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual and energetic health. And one of the ways we see that happening is through our investments that Charlie mentioned, starting with meditation and mindfulness applications and platforms so that people start to go inward and have their personal sovereignty and take responsibility for the life they're living versus just being programmed, conditioned humans running around.
Awesome. Okay. So interesting subject, especially in today's day and age.
Yeah.
And okay, so how do we? I think we should pro-choice. Like, I think we should have our own decisions. We should be well informed. Unfortunately, we could probably all agree that's probably not the direction we're going. How can we make a change in informing properly and then letting people make their own decisions?
Well, I think again that starts with shutting off the external world and going into our internal world and really listening to our narratives, our beliefs, our conditioning, our patterns, and deciding that they're not really ours, that they were conditioned into us, and what do we actually believe and what do we actually know, like intuitive knowing, intrinsic wellness. The wisdom we have when we're quiet is the place to begin versus all the chaos outside of us.
Okay. And though I feel like it's such a crazy, like I feel like most people, and the only thing I can think of is it's just easier to go along with the crowd. So, and I just think like there's so many like people I know that are very educated and don't seem to make educated decisions, but I just don't understand. Like, I can only guess that it's just easier to be like, okay, that's just everyone's doing this. Let's do this. We need to bridge the gap somehow. How can you get people to follow their intuition, or at least use their own brains, their own minds, their own perspective instead of everything else that's going on?
Well, I think that it starts simply by pausing, which COVID helped us to do. But it starts with pausing. It actually starts with breath. Like, we're unconscious breathers, just becoming aware of our breath, being in nature, having quiet time, because there is an intuition and an insight, an intrinsic wisdom inside of all of us that is soft and quiet. So we're not listening to it when we're running around in our chaos. So I think, shutting out the external world and just breathing or meditating or walking in nature helps us to get grounded and centered and more aware of our own sense of self, because truthfully, if we're paying attention, we do get the sensations, the feelings, the knowings when something is off. But like you said, there's pressure from those around us to join in. But I also think the other piece is that the people who don't want to shift and give this up are actually the ones, like white men, who benefit from it. So there's that level. It's like, why would you give up? You have all the power.
Right. Okay. So for those individuals that understand or could do some like breathing exercises outside in nature, that's well and good. So how can we get people to make a change? Is it the education piece, or is there a way to actually get them to help take action?
Well, I don't know if I'd call it education as much as I would call it awareness, like becoming more aware and becoming less attached to what is or what you think is, and really trusting yourself and having the courage to speak up or to do something different or to not participate. And, I think that comes from knowing ourselves more deeply, right? Really checking in with ourselves versus listening to what some news station or social media is telling us.
And how do we check in with ourselves?
Well, there's many different forms of check-in. So there could just be breath, like I said, breath work. There's mindfulness practices. There's walking in nature. There's meditation practices. There's just sitting quietly with a cup of coffee in the morning before you start your day and really listening to what's emerging from inside. And I think the other thing that's helpful is if you have support in your life who just listen. Because some people like to process out loud. They don't want to be fixed. They don't want you to tell them answers. You just talk out loud and you get clarity yourself.
And then, so those people that don't have that support, what would they do?
Like I said, there's lots of free applications and platforms. Insight Timer, full disclosure, we are investors and I am a teacher on it. But they have free, I don't know, Charlie knows the number.
60,000 free meditations.
60,000.
In 44 different languages. So it's available to anyone to be able to access.
And I also suggest, which Insight Timer also has, is music. Binaural beats can be really helpful. I find that with men, just to sit and listen to binaural beats, it can get our brain into the flow state and you can start to listen to yourself more deeply. So music can be helpful. And just having awareness, like being present to the moment in your day.
Tell us about, I'm interested in tools, regardless of how involved you are in the business. Tell us about Insight Timer and how it can help our audience.
So Insight Timer is a global platform where you can interact with 10,000 global mindfulness teachers, scientists, spiritual leaders who offer content, as I said, in 40 different languages, 44 languages. It's a free platform and you can buy content if you want to, but there is no requirement to do so. It is, it's a downloadable app. It's a community of, 18 million people who have downloaded and about 500,000 that use it every day. So you can sort of feel as though you're in community with other people who are on a journey. It provides, increasingly it's listening to its users and finding content that is specific to, what might help them given wherever that they are. There are ways to meditate with other people on the platform. They have live events with teachers that are also free. And there's ways then to connect one-on-one with teachers if you want to do that and you want to get that type of support. So it's really a platform that I'd say is, supporting personal growth and transformation.
That's awesome. So you can do a live meditation with the teacher through the app?
Yep, correct. They have many of them every day.
Yeah, very cool. So is it mainly just meditation or is there other modalities in there? Like yoga or?
Yes, there's yoga.
There's meditation, there's yoga.
Music.
There's Yeah, I was going to say live music. There's, multiple different practices. There might be a gratitude practice. Somebody might be teaching about, subtle energy or
breathwork practices.
Yeah, lots of different practices. Each of the different teachers comes onto the platform with their own unique teaching and their own unique experience, and then they offer that, to the community. And so, they each offer something different.
So we do have holistic practitioners that listen to this show. If there was a practitioner that wanted to teach a class, is that possible, or how would they do that?
Yeah, you just go on the app. There's, it's pretty easy to sign up. They have, probably, hundreds of people that do that, teachers that do that every week. I think it's easiest to go to their website versus the app. If you're signing up as a teacher, I'm not sure you can do that on the app, but on the website, you can find out. It's pretty easy, to sign up. Your content is all yours. There's no contracts. If you ever want to take your content off, you can do that. And, you can start to provide, free content. You can start to do live. You then they provide an opportunity for people to donate to you. You can do courses, which, you get a significant revenue share of. And as you, get more people following you, they're also going to be able to sign up for like one-on-one sessions. You determine your own price, and people can just sign up on the platform to have a session with you at a time that works for both parties.
And it's on both platforms, like Android, Apple.
Yeah, on everything. Oh yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to check it out. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Very cool. I didn't know about it. So Maureen, what do you teach on there?
Yeah, I teach on there. So I have free embodiment practices. And then I have one course right now called A Course on Conscious Breathing. And then I have another one coming up on boundaries. And what I love about it is I get feedback, questions, comments from people all over the world. And so I can engage with them. And I know that what I'm transmitting is having an impact. So for any of your listeners who are holistic providers, it's a lot of fun. Check it out.
And you guys are both do you participate in other classes on this app as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of great teachers on there.
Yeah.
Like Sharon Salzberg, who is she's the person who brought the loving kindness meditation to our country 20, 30 years ago. Tara Brock, Jack Cornfield, there's great teachers on there, as well as some
like Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn's on there. She's done a lot of work with mindfulness in schools.
Giselle Bundchen.
Goldie Hawn, like the actress?
Yeah.
Okay.
Giselle, who's a model. She's got content on there. So there are some very, very famous people like Russell Brand who are teachers on the platform. And then there are just, local therapists or mindfulness practitioners. It's a platform that can serve, any teacher that has a message that wants to connect with people online.
What is the icon? Is it a bowl with a white background?
Yes.
All right, I got it. I'm doing it right now. Let's get some of our viewers. If you guys are listening, we got to get you downloading right now. Let's check it out. Insight Timer. Cool. Okay, so when you guys are working with your message in other areas, what else can we go over to help our audience better understand how they can be more grounded and more together and maybe make some better decisions as a whole in the future?
Well, I think one of the ways, this work is messy, right? It's messy and it takes courage. But I think one way is to kind of look around in your life and see what's working for you and what isn't, and who in your life is supporting you and who isn't, and make some changes. Yes. I mean, there's this, concept of I call it the universal law of resonance, but like what we radiate out and what we're drawing back, and to look at that, what are we drawing into our life does kind of give us some information about what we're putting out there. And if you're not I remember many years ago, early in my 20s, I noticed I had a lot of victims around me. And I'm like, why am I attracting all these victims? And I started to realize it was because, I was a very competent, capable woman, and I wasn't a victim. And so, I was drawing in people who needed something from me, and I was overgiving and I had to stop, and the victims went away.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like there's so much, there's less accountability maybe. Like there's no accountability for our actions. Like it's always someone else's fault and never our fault. But if we could look from within a bit more, and I just like the energy of like attracting better people into your life, and it's really interesting, like that whole victim mindset. And I think it's like the decisions we make now aren't what happens, like regardless of what decision you make, it's not our fault, it's someone else's, but no one else is there to take accountability. So we're just continually in this victim mindset, and some people probably feel like there's no way to get out. How can we get out? Besides, is that the only way, is to surround ourselves with more positive types of people?
Well, I think it's what you said. First, we have to look at it and see where, if we're in victim, we have to take a good hard look at that. Like, why do I feel like I'm a victim, right? And what choices am I making, and what can I do differently? And that's where we start to make the change. But you'll probably recognize that this is where the conditioning comes in, that you were taught in some way to be a victim. Either it was modeled to you, or it's how you got attention, or whatever. And when you start to give that up and say, no, I actually am quite capable. I don't have to be a victim. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean things aren't challenging and there aren't times where it's frustrating, but you have to go, well, what's my piece in that? What am I tolerating? What am I putting out? I remember a friend saying to me, at this time when I was looking at this, she's like, you don't need very much. You're not very vulnerable. And I thought, oh my God, I don't need to be a victim, but I need to be vulnerable. And I need to ask people to help me with what I need, because I was coming across as so strong and capable that, couldn't feel that connection to me. So I started to shift that. I didn't become needy, but I did become more vulnerable and inclusive and allowing people to do more for me. And that helped to shift it too.
You know what? I feel like, so it's that a conditioned response probably. When you have those people that are always victims and you see them maybe in person, but probably online, and they're always complaining about having a rough day, or, but then all the people are like, oh, I feel so sorry for you. Hope you have a better day. But then that conditioned response is like, oh, I got some attention. So the next day they do it again.
Right. Exactly.
And then you turn into that person that's always has an issue. We all know them. Always got an issue with something. So for those individuals, do you think there's a way to help them turn the corner and take some accountability?
Yeah.
But they have to have a different response then, because they want that response.
Yeah. It's a choice to be a victim. I mean, that's the first thing. It is, you know?
Yeah. But, in some ways, but I think to answer what you're saying is, it's better for us who are not in victim mentality to respond to them by saying, oh, that sounds hard. What do you need? Because you acknowledge they're having a hard time, but you put it back on them. And then they have to sit there and go, oh yeah, it's up to me. Or you can say to them, that sounds really hard. I know you're capable. Is there anything you need from me to get through this? So again, you're encouraging them. You want to acknowledge where they're at, but you also want to encourage them that they can do it, right? And sometimes I'll say, especially with our kids, I'll be like, well, that sounds really hard. I know you can do this. They're young adults. I hope, I know you can do this. I know you can figure it out. Did you just need to tell me about it, or did you, need something? Because every time you do that, you're giving it back to them.
So, that's interesting, because in this case, I don't feel like they need anything except to complain.
Right.
So you say, what can I do to help? And then I get no response, or no answer. Nothing. So I just want to complain about it.
Then they have to sit with that and be like, oh God, I'm just complaining. Yeah. If enough people just say, well, what do you need? They're stuck with, oh, feel sorry for myself.
So what do you think they need? What do they need?
Well, some people need attention, like I said. Some people just need to be heard, believe it or not, and acknowledged. And some people want you to fix it for them, but that's where you have to say, I know you can do this. And they may not know how to just talk about, what's happening in life and what's good in life. They might think their only way to engage and connect is to complain.
Right. And we have to break that pattern.
Exactly.
Break the pattern of, you got to take some accountability. Is that what, you got to take some accountability for yourself? Like, I'm in this situation. I can get myself out of the situation.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that conversation. We are getting closer to wrapping things up here. Is there anything that you guys want to add that we can talk about or end with?
No, I think my only comment would be, it begins within.
Okay. In silence. It begins within. Okay. So for our audience, to help them understand, like, the solutions are within you. You have to take some time, meditate, breathe, nature, go find that message from within.
Yes.
Find community.
Yes.
That will support you to do that as well.
Yeah.
So are you guys involved with any other, like, this is a really cool app. I think I've seen it before. I don't know why I haven't gotten involved, because I've tried a few different meditation apps. But at any rate, is there any other cool tools you guys can throw at us that you're involved in?
Yes. Happify is another great app. Happify.com.
Happify Health.
They don't have Happify.com anymore?
Well, you could find it at Happify.
It started as a Signs of Happiness, and now it's moved into health. But they've got some great stuff, and they've gamified stuff, and they've made little cartoons. So it's fun. It's about happiness, positive psychology, and health. The Muse is a neurofeedback app. I don't know if you've seen it, The Muse. It's neurofeedback.
I think I interviewed that girl. What's her name? The creator?
Ariel.
Yeah, I interviewed her. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that's a fun one because you get feedback about it. Like if you're not sure you're meditating or you're getting into that flow state, you actually get the feedback. Some people need that. Did you want to add?
Yeah, Headspace is a tool used by a lot of people as a sort of introductory tool for mindfulness. True Love is a Canadian company that's sort of revolutionizing gaming to a much more feminine approach. They have an AI companion that you can download. It's just called #selfcare. Those, I'm sure there are others.
That's a free app. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So just tell me real quick, I got to let you guys go, but tell me what was the driving force where you guys are like, we want to get involved in helping people change their lives a bit?
Well, my driving force is to dismantle the patriarchy.
I just came onto the planet. I'm a change agent, and so I am passionate when I'm facilitating positive change for society.
Awesome. Are you guys then? And is there I don't know if these links were included in any of your, like, if you want to share your website, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the next step?
So we have a website, shiftit.com. I'm on Insight Timer, as you know. We're also both on LinkedIn.
And the website for the Bridge Builders Collaborative is bbcollaborative.com. That's the letter B, 2 letter B's. And I write a Medium post about what's happening in the industry that we serve.
How often?
Oh, sometimes frequently, and lately not enough.
Okay, so not once a week, just whenever you get to it.
Yeah, I was doing it once a week, and I've taken a little bit of time off, but it's periodic.
Okay, sounds good. That's fantastic. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time and interest and effort in what you guys are doing. We definitely could use more of that in this world. So I appreciate you guys coming on with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Drew.
It's our pleasure.
True Form Life.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. You can always find us on Facebook.com/TrueFormLife. We post up there a couple times a day on our story. We're always trying to bring you more content around living a healthy lifestyle, whether that be nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. We also have free challenges that we do at least once a month. So if you follow us along there, you'll be able to join maybe a plank challenge or a squat challenge, Tabata challenge, whatever it may be. We'd love to have you join us. We're also on Instagram.com/DrewTadia. Again, we're posting up there a couple times a day along with our story, all dedicated to keeping you fit and healthy and on track. Our main website is trueformlife.com. If you want to check out some of our products, some of our services, or if you just want some great content from videos to blog posts and recipes and more, we got all that at trueformlife.com. Once again, thank you so much for being here. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Tadia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Tadia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.